What up, Adam E. Stewart, Malcolm Lovejoy, going back in. Sex and God. How you been? I'm having fun. Spreading love. So yeah, last time we were talking about Islam, the shame religion, and we stopped at a hardcore part. I'm going to read the last chapter that I read and then go into male shame a little bit, and then we're going to call it a day. The modern approach of Christianity, based on individualistic guilt, does not allow it to stone people, chop off their heads, or shame them into becoming suicide bombers. Were Christianity in a position to put women to death for wearing a bikini or failing to fast during Lent, there would be far less secularism. That is the advantage of Islam. Fail to fast during Ramadan in Iran or Saudi Arabia or any other number of countries, and you risk bodily harm, to say nothing of wearing a bikini. That's what I read last time, and we're going to continue. How does Islam accomplish this? From birth, its adherents are deeply infected with ideas of honor and shame. When communities of Muslims develop in new countries, they form tight communities that facilitate enforcement of religious principles. If possible, they even set up alternate courts to enforce Sharia law. How is this different from the Irish in New York or the Indians in London? The answer is that while such subcultures have their own customs and traditions, none ever successfully implemented separate systems of enforcement equal to Muslim communities. The murder of Theo van Gogh, the fatwa on Salman Rushdie, the death threats to the former Dutch parliamentarian Ayaan Hirsch Ali, the riots, death threats, and killings over Muhammad cartoons, the honor killings of young women in Holland, they're all such examples of shame culture in Islam in action. The simple psychology of shame uses early childhood terror and natural defensive mechanisms to ensure conformity. Sanctions do not need to occur often. As long as children see and hear them occasionally, they will internalize them. Westerners are horrified at the public beheadings in Saudi Arabia of stories of young girls killed by their own brothers for running off with a boyfriend. A Muslim father in Toronto killed his daughter for defying him and writing her boyfriend. Imagine what such stories do to Muslim children who live inside the culture and communities, even in Western countries. In the secular West, we know such things will not happen to us. Children in Muslim cultures have no such assurances. Even if they have kind, loving, less religious parents, they are still finely tuned to their religion. They easily internalize the terror that such a fate could befall them if they do not adhere to the dictates of Allah. Yes. So, it's just an observation. It's not to say that goodness could not come from religion or Muslim discipline or a faith in their belief. It's just talking about the other side of the coin. Because there's no thing on this earth, there's no behavior that you can talk about positively that doesn't have some kind of negative repercussion or opposite repercussion. So we'll continue with male shame. Male shame. While men may not suffer shame as much as women, it is still a constant force in the life of Muslims. Ooh. Males are responsible for the chastity of all women in their household. Oh. For defending the faith and for avenging insults to the religion. Ah. They must show courage in battle so as not to bring shame on their family or communities. Eee. The male side of Islamic shame requires punitive measures for anyone who would bring imagined filth upon Allah or Muhammad. Therefore, men are compelled to ensure purity within their family and community. Yes. Today, Islam effectively resists secularization primarily because of its use of shame. Within the community, each person's sexuality is tied to his or her family and to the community. To violate the sexual rules of Allah violates both the family and the community. This powerful distortion allows Islam to remain isolated from secular sexual influences. The terror of social sanction or violence keeps young people from following their heart. It prevents healthy sexual exploration and development in men and women. Yes, sadly, yes. Shame in modern cults. We'll just end this off today. Modern cults like Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Scientology are more shame-based than mainstream Christian groups. Cults tend to create a closed community where members are isolated from the rest of the world through deep indoctrination. At the same time, the system requires members to watch one another and report violations of behavior or doctrine to an authority figure. Shame can be brought up upon the family for one person's behavior. For example, if a Jehovah's Witness sees another committing sin, he is obligated to report it to the elders. Two elders then investigate the incident. If they determine a violation has happened, a three-elder committee meets with the member in a disciplinary meeting. The discipline can be anything from mild reproach to a public announcement at the meeting to being disfellowshipped. During the discipline meeting, the person is encouraged to reveal if he or she has witnessed others committing sin. The idea is that a person cannot be guilt-free if he has seen others sinning and not reported it. Unlike Islam, Jehovah's Witnesses have to work in a culture that has competing religions and many secular influences. It is a major task to keep the members isolated from outside ideas. Guilt and shame are the main tools. Conclusion. Lest I overstate the case, shame is not limited to religion. Not at all, not at all. It can be used without reference to religion or the supernatural, but religions have found shame to be a powerful tool for maintaining religious conformity and to control or limit sexual behavior. Building on our understanding of these psychological tools, let's look at how these come together to allow many of the abuses perpetuated by religion. So in chapter 6, we are going to get into mind police and thought control. And to leave you with a final thought, guilt is a key tool by which religion controls people. Guilt impedes effective communication and undermines sexual confidence and enjoyment. Pornography, the name given to any sexual literature that somebody is trying to suppress. By Alex Comfort, The Joy of Sex. So yeah, big up Sex and God, How Religion Distorts Sexuality. One of the best books in the world. Timeless brilliance, greatness. We're going to get back into it again soon. See what I can do ASAP. All right, I love you for caring for each other. Be good to each other and spread some love. Peace from my minute. And shout out to Tupac and Lil Kim every time. You know.